In this video, we're going to be reading 1-star Goodreads reviews of books that I absolutely adore and am obsessed with. And to say that I'm scared is an understatement. I was going through and screenshotting the reviews that I wanted to read for this video, and I have a few issues with how people are rating things on Goodreads. Specifically, why are you DNFing a book 3 chapters in and giving it a 1 star? You haven't even read the book. I digress. I'm sitting a little bit off to the side because I'm going to put the reviews in this blank area of the screen, but you'll have to ignore how much I'm playing with my hair because I feel like my fringe is just doing something that I cannot be bothered dealing with today. Truthfully, I'm going to lose it and chop all of my hair off, so if one clip it's behind my ears and then the next clip it's not, I'm going to need you to just please, because my boyfriend comments on it enough when he watches my videos and I just don't need to build any more of a complex about it. So I have so many screenshots, actually, now that I'm looking at it. These books are a mishmash of mostly books that I just hold dearly in my heart, and for so many of them, it's more than I know that the 1-star reviews, especially for these books where I've rated them with my heart and not with my head, are going to be diabolical. I've left out the obvious, Twilight, all of those sorts of things. Whilst I would love to include them, I feel like they've been done before. We know what the 1-star reviews are for Twilight, New Moon, all of those kinds of books that we read back in the day. I say that knowing that the first book that we're going to be reading reviews for is Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. Now, if you weren't around 15 years ago reading, or maybe you would have heard of it recently, but this was really big 15 years ago. When I read it, I loved it. I have read that book so much over the years that the front cover of it was torn off and it's now sticky taped on. To say that I love this book with my entire heart is an understatement, but I also read it at the right time of when it came out and I was the correct demographic for this book. Will not be rereading this book anytime soon because I have rose-colored glasses on and I will not be taking them off. I will not be taking them off. I have it rated as 5 stars on Goodreads. I will not be changing that. There is nothing that anyone can say that will make me change that. So I've chosen roughly 4 reviews for each book, and hopefully this video isn't too long. I assume it won't be, but I also don't know. But I'm also not going to make it shorter. So let us get started. Oh my god, I've gone way too far. The first review is from Elle, The Poor Man's Twilight. That's just a really funny 1-star review to me. I don't really know why. I don't know how it's the poor man's Twilight. You know what, Elle? You go for it. The next review is La Puta Madre. And I've butchered that pronunciation, but you understand from the graphic. And it's in all caps. That was just really funny to me. The next review. Okay, I'm completely embarrassed to have even read this book, especially because it was so terrible. I greatly disliked the main character, Nora, whom I thought was an idiot. Some of these reviews are really long, so I'm not going to read them all out. I'm just going to read either the first bit or the bit that caught my eye. The next and last review is, I only have one thing to say about this disaster of a book. This book needs to hush itself before I lose it. I read all of the books and look, arguably it just got more ridiculous as it went on, but I just don't feel like these are valid. I just don't. I feel like my man Patch is being done wrong here. And I think most of the complaints are about Nora, so that's fine. The next book is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. Some of the 1-star reviews on this book were actually really funny, stupidly funny. The first review of this book is, like a Christian youth pastor, this book is uncomfortably unfunny, and it has 1,500 likes. I love this book. So to me, that's The next review, the overall star rating for this book is An Argument Against Democracy. 3.91 stars. Are you guys huffing glue? Yeah, probably. That's such a funny review. The next review. Wow, that was super bad. The exclamation points are what made this so funny to me. This video was going to hurt my heart. The next and last review, 1 star, no. We love a clear and concise queen. The next book is The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. If Eva Jacks has 1,000,000 haters, then I am one of them. If they have 10 haters, then I am one of them. If they have only 1 hater, then that is me. If Eva Jacks has no haters, then that means I am dead. This person clearly just disliked this book so much that they suddenly became Milk and Honey 2.0. That's how strongly they felt about it, and you can only respect them for that. I love The Ballad of Never After, and seeing some of these reviews, it really reminds me of how objective subjective reading is. I didn't know that there was this many haters. There's actually a lot of haters on Stephanie Garber books. Way more than I thought. I thought everyone liked these books. It's not true. The next review. The book would have been much better if Evangeline had stayed as a stone statue. Okay. I like to pretend this book ended on chapter 46. Ah, okay. That's brutal. I didn't know what chapter that was prior to reading the review again. Okay, Queen. Slay. Hard to trudge through. I love people sometimes. Oh, look, if 1 stars are this funny, then that's fine. Maybe not as an author, but as a consumer and a reader, some of them are really hilarious. They tickle my funny bone. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so the next book is Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. The first review is, I have nothing nice to say, and she said nothing else. So good for her. Doing what her mama raised her to do. Don't say anything if you have nothing nice to say. The next review is, good lord. I can see that. The next one is lovingly 1 star. I don't really know how you can do that lovingly. It feels like you're saying no offense and then saying the most slanderous thing. Maybe the lovingly helps them sleep at night. I don't really know. The last review is the most dumb. What's the most dumb? I don't really know. Does this person know? Probably not. It's just the most dumb. The next book is Nettle and Bone. And if you know me, or if you've seen any of my older videos, you know that I love this book. I love this book with a fiery, burning passion. It was one of my top reads for last year, and it's probably one of my top reads ever. I enjoyed it that much. It scratched an itch in my brain that I can't even comprehend or explain to you. But some of the 1-star reviews, there was actually quite a lot more that I was expecting. I guess I didn't think about the fact that it is a twisted fairy tale, so it's not like a normal fantasy. But anyway, the first review. It was the demon chicken that sold me on this book, but unfortunately the chicken had an almost non-existent role. Didn't really act like a demon at all. I really found this one so boring, I'm afraid. Kelly, what is a demon chicken supposed to act like in your head? Do you have an example? Because I think a demon chicken can act whichever way T. Kingfisher likes, because it's a demon chicken, and I don't think the point of the book was to focus on the demon chicken. Fuck me, right? The next rating is sorry. Yeah, sometimes it'd be like that, so I get that one. The next review is plot boring, characters boring, 1 star because I love Bone Dog. Valid. The next and last review is, this was one acid trip of a fairy tale. Yeah, it is very acid trippy, so I respect that. The next book is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. There's 2 Stephanie Garbers in here because I realized that she gets a lot of 1-star reviews. Not a lot, but more than some of these other books, and I don't know if that's because they have more ratings in general, so overall there's more of a reach. The first review for Caraval is, well, that was disappointing. I can see that for Caraval. The second review is, this is the kind of book you wish you had a physical copy just for the pleasure to throw it away through a window. I also understand that sentiment. There are some books that I would like to throw in the bin or through a window, for sure. The next review, at this point, I'm convinced you bitches just take the most nonsensical and bland books you can find and hype it up just to see others suffer. That is the funniest review. I get that because I feel that way about some other books, obviously not about this series and not about this book, but I get it. I get this review and that pains me, but I get it. The next and final review is, there were a few hot minutes where I was trying to pretend like there was anything I liked about this book. You finished it, I said to myself. There had to be something that made you want to keep reading, right? Well, yes, of course. Hatred. I only have mad respect for Amanda for opening her review like that. That is... it's one of the best reviews I think I've read. Just in general. 5 stars, 1 stars, 3 stars. The next book is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I also have been very open about how much I love this series and this book. I wouldn't say it's controversial, but people do go into it expecting a loving relationship and not really the enemies to lovers that it says that it is. But it is true enemies to lovers, and people do not like that. And that's okay. But some of these reviews are not even focused on that. We'll get into it. The first review. Should have stopped reading at the mention of his tail. Okay, firstly, how dare you? How dare you body shame my man Carden? Don't do that. That's not very nice. But that was a common complaint. People just aren't out here actually wanting to read fantasy. That is what it feels like. Because anything that isn't, I don't know, like a standard fairy, like standard normal looking human with pointy ears, I feel like people are like, ew, or wings. Okay, he has a tail. It's different and I like it. Don't be rude. The next review. I want this book to come to life so I can punch it in the face. It is terrible, in all caps. I felt that about other books. Not about this one or this series, but other books, for sure. DNF, Carden not a real man. Sorry, get that tail removed and then try to bully people. It has 18 likes too. Carden's not a real man. Okay, Mira. Ugh, go away. I don't like the bully to lover trope. I hate it. Carden almost killing Jude in the beginning killed the vibe for me. Ugh. They're enemies. They are enemies. They are enemies. What do you mean? Enemies is not like in Lilac where 30 pages in he's feeding her chocolate. That's not enemies to lovers. Him almost killing her in the first 60 pages. That's enemies to lovers. Don't give me that shit. No. The next book is Belladonna by Adeline Grace, which again, I love. Why do I keep reminding you guys that I love these books? This is clearly about books that I adore and am obsessed with, and I still keep repeating that I love the book. So the first review is sincerely no. Anyone who says this book is good is straight up lying. The book single-handedly cured my surely if the cover is drop dead gorgeous it can't be that bad delusion. I disagree. Wholeheartedly disagree. The next review. Do you know ... how bad ... a book has to be ... for me to get to 93% and not care if I finish it ... Too many dots. Don't care about that review. Absolutely bored out of my mind. Just straight people being dry as hell as usual. Valid. Yeah. This book made me want to ingest a lethal dose of belladonna. I don't like that. And I resent that comment. Now the next book is a book that I finished recently, Choosing Theo, and it's by Victoria Aveline? Some of these reviews are pretty good. Blech, pathetic. By Moses and all the saints, save me from these pathetic novels where the heroine is a rather airhead brand of a human female with so unoriginal red hair and green eyes and overweight. A woman is curvy and she's overweight. Also, that is not even remotely unoriginal, just by the way. Everyone is either skinny with, sure, the hair thing, absolutely. They always have a different colored hair, but they're always skinny, never curvy. How dare you? And also, curvy representation. I resent this comment. But also, it's an alien book for fuck's sake. Why are we being so balls deep about it? It's not that deep. The next review. These are some of the most unlikable characters I've encountered in a while. I can get that. The next review. I didn't love this. In fact, I really hated it. I'll start off by saying I hate sci-fi, so I'm already biased. I'm not even going to finish reading the rest of this review because why the fuck are you reading a sci-fi monster romance if you don't like sci-fi? That is the stupidest shit I have ever heard in my entire life. Ugh, absolutely fuck off. The next review. I read this after watching Avatar, and that still isn't a good excuse. You needed to go with Ice Planet Barbarians, babe. That was the way to go. Now the next book is Kiss of the Basilisk by Lindsay Straub? I need everyone to know that I rated this book with my heart and not with my head. It was all vibes. Don't take me seriously for how much I enjoyed that book. The first review. Book must be big with the only reads dialogue crowd. That's so valid. I can't even dispute that. The next review. This book didn't need to be written. It didn't, but why is any book written? You know? Why did Shakespeare start out all of those years ago? You know what I mean? I don't have anything else to add. There was the vaguest idea of an interesting story in here somewhere, but I think it got lost in Thames' vagina. That's so valid. The next review. No. End of review. The next book is Bourbon and Lies by Victoria Wilder, another book that I recently listened to that I rated with my heart and not my head. Rosie says, I lost brain cells reading that, which I was not in a position to do. Are we ever in a position to lose brain cells, Rosie? No. Georgie says, thank God this book was free. No comment. This cover is too pretty for it to be this bad, but it is. DNF. A story should have a beginning, middle, and an end. How the fuck would you know if there was an end, Samantha, when you DNF'd it? We don't even know where you DNF'd it. You just said DNF. How do you know that there's a middle or an end or what's going on when you didn't finish it, Samantha? People say the darndest shit sometimes. The darndest shit. Fuck off. Wild Side by Elsie Silver is the next book. The first review. No. With a smiley face. The next review. Being met and below mediocre are the only wild sides in this book. The next review. What in the Nacho Libre was this? Wildside is about a wrestler, so this comment is really funny and I really like the comment. But disagree with the 1 star. The last review. The wrestling gave me the ick. Now, why would you read a book about wrestlers if it's gonna give you the ick? review. Now, this last book, these reviews actually hurt my feelings because it is The Knight and the Moth, and if you've seen my video on the book, you know that I loved it. You know that it absolutely destroyed me. And it was really ballsy of me to read 1-star reviews of this book. And I didn't think about it in the moment because I really thought that I was stronger than what I am, but I'm not. We're gonna get started with the first review. I have never disliked all 400 pages in a book before. I do not understand the hype with this one. You don't understand me, Victoria. You don't understand me. The next review, Kendra. Basic baddie goes to Middle Ages. We don't like violence, but kick everyone in the crotch. If I hear "Oi" one more time, I'm gonna die. With hate from a high fantasy reader. With hate from me? Fuck off. Sophie, DNF 21%. Wouldn't give a rat's ass if anyone in this book lived or died. How are you even getting enough information in 21% of a fucking book? You're not. You're rating it 1 star with no information. I wouldn't care if they lived or yeah, because you haven't even read far enough to care. Sophie, convinced everyone that gave this a high rating is either lying or being paid. There are so many mean things I want to say, but I won't. It's not my fault we enjoyed the book. The next review. I DNF'd it after I fell asleep from this snooze fest of a book. What kind of fucking review is that, Nicole? I'm getting too heated. The last review. I just don't like this author. So why are you fucking reading it? Why are you reading the book? Just makes me so frustrated that people want to shit on The Knight and the Moth. All of the others I can deal with. The Knight and the Moth? Don't play with me. But that is also the end of this video. Thank you for sticking around until the end if you're still here. I really appreciate you. If you don't know, I have a ton more videos available on my channel. They're not here right now, but they will be in a second. So I hope you're having a good day, a good night, a good morning, a good evening, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you in the next video.